now for our book, gonna take a little detour here, and I will talk about other books too, not just Christian ones. But maybe a few days ago, a friend asked me, Joe, what are your top leadership books that you would recommend to anybody? Like regardless of the situation. This is a CEO, a businessman. He's leading his own startup. And he said, what would you recommend? And it made me think, because I find leadership books to be highly contextual. Like depending on the industry you're in, depending on what kind of organization you're leading, a startup compared to a huge organization, and even dependent on your situation. There are some leadership books that I've gone back to reading, and I realized they were so good for me because of how old I was and what I was going through as a leader at that time. So for him to say a leadership book that I would recommend to anybody at any time, no matter what, that really made me think. I was like, okay, wow. So I had a few, and this is one of them. This book I want to recommend, and it's a great leadership book. And the reason why I want to recommend this leadership book is because the other books in that list, so I gave him a list of like 3 or 4, are very personal. Like there's going to be, if I'm going to think of a leadership book that had a huge impact in my life that I could recommend to everybody, it's really one that digs deep into my own character, into like my inner demons, my bad habits, all of those things. This one's not one of those books. It's very practical, very easy to read, but there's a lot to chew on. And the way that the author wrote it, there's a lot of cheat sheets. Like you don't even need to read the whole book. You can just flip to the end of every chapter, find the cheat sheet, and you'll get the heart of it. And it's this book, Multipliers by Liz Wiseman. And you can see my copy is super worn out. It's so worn out, I've lost the back. All right, I've been reading this for years. I've applied it in so many different situations, and it's super practical. You got stuff like this, that break the wall of text. So it's easy to digest and easy to get behind. And the subtitle says, How the Best Leaders Make Everyone Smarter. Here's why I can recommend this. Every leader, no matter what industry, no matter what size of your organization, no matter where you are in the org chart, you might be like near the bottom, right? And you lead a few people, you've got tons of people above you. By definition, if you're a leader, you're leading other people. And one of the best things you can do is to make the people you work with smarter, better, more skillful. And sometimes the mindset people have is that, I can only work with a good team if they're all good, they're all superstars. I'm not a fan of that kind of thinking. Definitely there's a place for screening, there's a place for selecting the right people. That's true. That being said, if you're only going to work with superstars, then you get all the baggage and the overhead of superstars. One amazing thing that teams can do is build people who nobody sees as superstars and turn them into a team of stars. Kind of like the premise of the movie Moneyball. Kind of like the entire history of the San Antonio Spurs franchise, which is the winningest team in any professional sports. Spurs fan. Massive Spurs fan here. And so, Multipliers talks about how you can be either a multiplier, someone who increases the ability of your team, or a diminisher, someone who reduces them, who takes people who are actually pretty good, but when they put them together under your leadership, they perform worse. All right. What does it mean to be a multiplier? And I'm going to try to share what I can without violating fair use policy. So this table here, very nice. How do you manage talent? A diminisher uses talent. A multiplier develops talent. How do you approach mistakes? A diminisher blames. A multiplier explores. Why did we make this mistake? What can we learn from this mistake? How do you set directions? Diminishers tell people the direction. This is the direction. We decided this direction. Us old people, us the previous generation, you have no right to change the direction. You should do what we have said. Versus multipliers who challenge people. How do you make decisions? Diminishers decide, multipliers consult with their teams. How do you get things done? Diminishers control their teams, multipliers support their teams. And maybe you're already listening to that list and you're thinking, whoa, but if I don't control, if I don't decide for them, if I don't tell them, they'll never make the right decision. That goes back to the very foundation, the main premise that separates a multiplier from a diminisher. A diminisher thinks they will never figure this out without me, whereas a multiplier thinks people are smart and will figure this out. Which one are you? What are you more prone to doing? When you look at the people you're allowed to work with, that you're privileged to work with, to lead, are they people that you have to dictate to because they're really not that smart? That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of its own. Or if we see them as people who are capable, who are gifted, who are made in the image of God, then they're capable of something. And if I work together with them, and my job is to nurture the conversation, then great ideas are going to come from these people. They give 5 traits, 5 disciplines of a multiplier. A multiplier is a talent magnet who attracts talented people and allows them to give their highest point of contribution. A diminisher is someone who hoards resources and underutilizes the talent. They like having a bunch of talented people around them, but they're not brought to their full potential. They're not squeezed into their extreme. In fact, a lot of their gifts are wasted because of the bureaucracy. A multiplier is a liberator who creates an intense environment that requires people's best thinking and work. Whereas a diminisher is a tyrant who creates a tense environment that suppresses people's thinking and capability. Notice that they make a distinction in that chapter about the difference between an intense environment and a tense environment. What's the difference? An intense environment is intense because the work we're doing together is important. The people we're called to serve matter. The output of our work is going to have an effect on people's lives. So we're intense, but about the work. We're intense because of the mission we have together. We're intense because what you do and what I do matters in the long term. That's intense. On the other hand, diminishers like a tense environment. They want people to walk on eggshells around them. They want people to guess what their whims are. They want people to do things exactly what they would say. They like it when their teams are crippled whenever they show up and they're afraid, oh, what negative thing are they going to say now? Are they going to notice like a desk arrangement out of place? Are they going to notice I used the wrong word there? So their people are not focused on the work, on the task. They're focused on the reaction of the dictator. It's a tense environment, not an intense one. It's tense. I'm afraid of the leader. I'm not focused on delivering the value. Where do you work? What do you do with your team? Notice as well that the multiplier is not working in a low pressure environment. He's not calling people to be lazy, to give anything less than their best. Because people want to deliver well. People want to be part of a team that functions well. People want to be part of a team that delivers on the goods. And they're happy when they are seen for the work that they do. Tyrant versus liberator. A multiplier is a challenger. It says here, they find an opportunity that causes people to stretch just a little bit beyond. And the diminisher is a know-it-all who directs how much people should showcase and how much they know. And they're the expert. The diminisher is, I know everything. And so now you've got a genius surrounded by 1,000 helpers instead of a lot of geniuses. The multiplier is a debate maker. The diminisher is a decision maker. I wrote here in that section, use your power to make a decision, force a decision, or you can use your power to create debate. And this helped me so much in my team when I realized that I was, throwing decisions so quickly. 15 years ago, I'm just throwing decisions at people so quickly because I know everything. And I noticed my team was being quiet. They were just waiting. What's Joe going to say? Especially because I would say my decision with a lot of arrogance, with a lot of obviously, blah, 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 blah. And now they don't want to be on the wrong side of that, obviously. And I realized that my time was better spent in creating debate. What do you think? Hey, what do you say about that? You've been quiet. No, I think it's okay. Oh, come on. We've been there before. You've got great ideas. Tell me what you really think. And to even play people off of each other, not in some kind of manipulative way, but to know this person is more task-oriented, this person is more people-oriented. I want to hear both of their perspectives on this decision before we move forward. And to let people know that it's okay to speak up. It's okay to have your own perspective on this thing. And it took skill. Sometimes we didn't all agree by the end of the decision. But because we all spoke, even the ones with a different point of view could say, okay, I can get behind this as long as you've noted and you've listened to the warnings I gave for my perspective. Finally, a multiplier is an investor, gives people ownership for results and invests in their success. And a diminisher is a micromanager who, just drives people to the ground and does not really help them become better leaders. They micromanage everything. I could go on, but I need to stop. Otherwise, I'd be talking about the whole book. Chapter 7 has this amazing section about being an accidental diminisher. I try to be a multiplier. I really want people to improve. I'm not trying to be a dictator, whatever, know-it-all, tyrant. But I can't help it. Why am I doing that? And they give reasons for why people could be accidental diminishers. Maybe they just have too many ideas, so everybody waits for you to have the idea instead of letting other people speak up. Maybe you should limit yourself. Maybe you're a rescuer who doesn't like seeing people struggle or make mistakes. And you really have to. You gotta, just like having kids, right? Like, I have to watch my kids make mistakes. I have to watch my kids mess up and have a difficult time because that's when they build the muscles for it. So all of that to say, great book. Multipliers, lots of resources at the end as well. If you want to talk about this more, join us in the Telegram group, and we will be talking about this. I've been enjoying the conversations there so far. And yeah, this will be one of the books we'll discuss in the book study portion of the Telegram group. I'm still forming the rest of the people for the first book we'll discuss. But yeah, this is going to be one of them. Love this book, Multipliers. Go get it. I promise you, whatever season of organization you're in, whatever season of leadership you personally are in, this book will be helpful to you. So there, I hope this has been helpful for you. If you want to talk about this more, we have a Telegram group. It's in the description. The link's in the description. If you want to talk about it more there, then join the conversation as well. If you want to support this channel, we would be grateful. You can go to buymeacoffee.com and click there. Some people have said they were having problems getting through. Send me a message and let me see how to figure that out. But I've had a friend give already. So yeah, it's working out so far. Also, if you like this content, like, share, subscribe as usual to help push this out. The algorithm will help us find other people who could benefit from it. God bless you. See you in the next one.